Listen carefully. When life suddenly tightens its grip around you, why does your chest lock up? Why does your breath turn shallow? Why does your mind become a battlefield where you lose control before the fight even starts? Don't turn away. I'm speaking directly to you. You know exactly what this feels like because you've lived it more times than you want to admit. Pressure enters your life like a storm breaking open the sky. And instead of becoming the thunder, you curl inward like someone hoping the lightning won't strike. But here's the truth no one ever says out loud: the fear you feel under pressure isn't about the situation itself. It's the fear of meeting the version of yourself that appears when everything collapses. Machiavelli warned that necessity exposes a man. And pressure is that necessity. It strips you down, drags your real instincts into the light, and forces you to confront the creature behind your polite mask. Most men cannot handle what they see. Tell me this: when tension rises, why does your voice fade? Why does your body freeze as if someone else hijacked it? It's because you were conditioned to be harmless, to obey fear instead of commanding it. But inside you lives something far more powerful. Not a violent brute. Not a mindless beast. A cold, disciplined force, a silent monster built for chaos, danger, and strategy. A part of you that doesn't flinch under tension, that grows sharper in uncertainty, that observes danger with unblinking clarity. This version of you does not run from fear. He bends it. He does not panic. He calculates. He does not react. He waits for the moment that favors him. Look at yourself right now. You're here because you are tired of folding, tired of breaking, tired of surrendering at the first sign of pressure. You want to become the man who remains unshaken when the world shakes around him. Good. Because in this video, you're going to learn 8 ruthless Machiavellian lessons that will permanently change how you deal with tension. Lessons that turn fear into focus, chaos into clarity, and pressure into raw power. Remember, monsters aren't born in comfort, they are born the moment a man stops running. Before we continue, write this in the comments. Pressure obeys me. Now let's begin. Lesson 1. Become dangerous, not harmless. Study your life carefully, and you'll notice a disturbing pattern. Every time you tried to be harmless, someone stepped over you. Every time you stayed quiet, someone used your silence as permission to dominate you. Every time you tried to be gentle, someone converted your softness into their advantage. Harmless men are ignored. Harmless men are disrespected. Harmless men are unprotected. And the world follows a brutal law. Whatever society ignores, it eventually crushes. Machiavelli once explained that being feared carries more weight than being loved when you cannot be both. Most men deny this truth, but deep down they know it. Power does not come from appearing safe. Power comes from possessing the ability to be dangerous, even if you choose not to show it. Pressure is a battlefield. And harmless men are the first to fall. The dangerous are the ones who stand firm. They dictate the tone. They shape outcomes. They cannot be dismissed. But let me make something clear. Danger does not mean recklessness. It does not mean violence. It does not mean chaos. Danger means capability. It means having the strength, skill, and mental steel to respond with force if the situation demands it. It means knowing you could do damage, but choosing not to. It means carrying internal power that others can feel without you saying a single word. No one respects harmlessness. People respect restraint backed by real power. Under pressure, The harmless man collapses because he has nothing inside him except fear. But the dangerous man stays steady because he knows he carries internal weaponry, calmness, awareness, discipline, and the willingness to act if necessary. His confidence is real. His stability is genuine. He trusts his own strength. But here's the twist most people never realize. Becoming dangerous does not begin in conflict, it begins in discipline. Every time you push through discomfort, you sharpen your edge. Every time you choose structure over chaos, your mind grows stronger. Every time you stay composed under stress, you build psychological armor. You're not trying to scare the world. You're ensuring the world never has the power to scare you again. Imagine a high-pressure moment. Someone challenges you, provokes you, tries to shake you. The harmless version of you reacts instantly, emotionally, foolishly. But the dangerous version of you remains still, breathing slowly, watching closely, speaking only when necessary. You don't rush. You don't tremble. You don't give away power. In that silence alone, you become more intimidating than any shout. The world respects capability. Pressure respects capability. And monsters are not loud, they are powerful. Write this in the comments. I choose power. Lesson 2. Command your physiology. Your body is the very first place pressure tries to take control. Long before your mind begins to crumble, your physiology starts betraying you. Think about what happens when tension spikes. Your heart starts racing like it belongs to someone else, your shoulders lock up, your breathing becomes shallow, your vision tightens, and your hands begin to shake, no matter how many times you tell yourself to stay calm. None of this is random. It's your body surrendering before your mind even understands what's happening. Machiavelli believed that a man who cannot govern himself cannot govern anything. And that applies to you just as much as it applied to rulers, warriors, or kings. If you cannot control the machine inside your own skin, the world will control it for you. Understanding your body is understanding your power. When pressure hits, your nervous system tries to drag you into panic mode, forcing you toward impulsive decisions, sloppy movements, and foggy thinking. The average man becomes a prisoner to these reactions because he assumes the body's first response is the truth. But that initial response is just a signal. And signals can be rewritten. A monster does not allow his physiology to dictate his actions. He manipulates it. He bends it until it obeys his intention instead of his fear. Here's something most men will never learn. Stillness increases strength. Stillness multiplies clarity. Stillness is dominance. When you slow your breathing deliberately, your brain switches out of survival mode and into command mode. Rolling your shoulders back, unclenching your jaw, and expanding your chest tells your nervous system, we are not threatened. Your body stops feeding your anxiety because you have taken away its permission to panic. Every deep breath stabilizes your mind. Every slow exhale clears static from your thoughts. Every moment of physical control reinforces mental authority. Picture a room filled with chaos, voices rising, energy shifting, tension sharp in the air. Most men get swept into it like debris in a hurricane. But the monster steps into that same chaos and deliberately slows his heart. His expression remains unreadable. His muscles stay loose. His presence stays heavy and grounded. This calmness isn't weakness. It's control. It's intimidation. People fear what they cannot predict. And nothing is more unpredictable than a man whose physiology remains calm while everyone else spirals. Commanding your physiology also gives you something more valuable than strength. Time. Time to see what others miss. Time to think while others react. Time to let mistakes reveal themselves. This is a tactical advantage. The one who stays steady always outlasts the one who panics. Mastering your body means mastering the rhythm of the moment. And rhythm is a weapon more powerful than speed or force. Remember, you don't rise under pressure by accident. You rise because your body listens to you, not your fear. Pressure loses its power the moment you stop reacting and start directing your internal state. Monsters are not built through emotion. They are forged through discipline over flesh. Write this in the comments. My body obeys me. Lesson 3. Kill emotional impulses. Every reaction you make under pressure becomes one of two things. Either a weapon or a weakness. Most men spend their lives giving away power because they obey the loudest emotion in the moment. Anger erupts before thought. Panic forces rush decisions. Desire blinds judgment. Fear manipulates action. Machiavelli warned that a ruler who cannot restrain his impulses becomes controlled by them. And that lesson applies exactly to you under pressure. Emotions are not your allies, they are traps. The monster inside you understands something most men never learn. Emotion is distortion. It magnifies danger. It twists perception. It creates openings for others to strike. Acting on impulse is the luxury of the weak. Survival and dominance demand calculation. You must learn to silence the reflex to react, to override the urge to shout, flinch, or move before thinking. Every emotional outburst you allow is another chain wrapped around your freedom. Another opportunity for the world to steer you. Pay attention the next time anger spikes, fear tightens your chest, or irritation demands action. Notice how fast your body wants to move. Notice how quickly your thoughts start spiraling. Notice how easily others can pull your strings when your emotions are exposed. This is why harmless men crumble under pressure. They obey every feeling that passes through them. But the monster does something different. He intercepts emotion before it becomes action. He observes the surge but refuses to be guided by it. He sees fear, desire, anger, then sets them aside like tools he chooses not to use. This is how vulnerability becomes strategy. This is how chaos becomes order. This is how instinct becomes precision. You must train your mind to see emotions as signals, not commands. Fear tells you there is risk. But it doesn't tell you how to respond. Anger reveals a boundary crossed. But it doesn't dictate the punishment. Excitement points to opportunity. But it doesn't decide the timing. When you refuse to react emotionally, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is terrifying. People expect men to respond the way they do. They assume your anger will mirror theirs. They assume your fear will expose you. They assume your frustration will push you into mistakes. But when you break the pattern, when you do not react, they lose their grip. A monster moves like a chess master, not a pawn. He calculates. He waits. He strikes only when the moment benefits him. Untrained men let emotions control the steering wheel. A monster uses emotion like fuel, but never like direction. The moment you act first because your emotion demands it, you surrender leverage. The moment you lash out because someone triggered you, you lose the advantage. The moment you let jealousy, insecurity, or panic guide your behavior, you become someone else's puppet. Killing emotional impulses doesn't make you heartless. It makes you sovereign. You feel, but you do not obey. You perceive, but you do not react blindly. You sense emotion, but you convert it into strategy. This is the difference between a man destroyed by pressure and a man who conquers it. Write this in the comments. I act with calculated control. Lesson 4. Move at your own tempo. Listen carefully. Time is not neutral. Most men are ruled by the clock, ruled by pressure, ruled by the pace of everyone around them. When tension rises, they speed up. When voices get loud, they match the chaos. When the environment becomes frantic, they lose control of their rhythm. They rush. They stumble. They make sloppy choices. They let urgency steal their clarity. Machiavelli once warned that the man who waits for the right moment is always superior to the man who acts too fast. And this principle becomes absolute under pressure. The monster moves differently. He refuses to be rushed. He refuses to be shoved by emotion, panic, or expectation. He decides the tempo of the room, the conversation, the confrontation, the entire situation. When others speed up, he slows down. When others freeze, he advances. When everyone else becomes chaotic, he becomes the center around which events revolve. This is the power of owning your pace. Your mind and body are instruments, and tempo is the command. Move too fast, and you expose your intentions. Move too slow, and you give others room to corner you. But move with intentional rhythm, and you become unreadable, unshakable, and untouchable. The monster chooses every motion deliberately. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is accidental. Nothing is emotional. Imagine a confrontation where tempers explode, voices rise, gestures sharpen, and tension spreads. A weak man mirrors that chaos. He acts fast, reacts emotionally, and exposes vulnerability. The monster does the opposite. He pauses. He analyzes. He lets the moment stretch. He waits for the precise second when action, silence, or movement benefits him most. The pause itself becomes a weapon. Your stillness unsettles people. Your patience confuses them. Your refusal to match their tempo throws their confidence off balance. A slow, controlled step. A calm tone in a storm. A quiet breath when others gasp. These are signals of dominance. Your tempo becomes a message. You don't control this moment, I do. Tempo is also armor. When pressure surges, maintaining your rhythm protects you from being dragged into mistakes. When someone tries to provoke or rush you, your unbreakable pacing disarms them. They expect you to panic, but you remain steady. Your slowness makes them desperate. Your patience makes them unpredictable. Your timing makes you dangerous. Because timing is everything. A strike too early fails. A strike too late is wasted. But a strike delivered at the perfect moment changes everything. To master your tempo, you must first observe it. Notice how your pace changes under stress. Notice how quickly you react to pressure. Notice how easily the world pulls you into its rhythm. Then break the cycle. Train yourself to slow your breath, slow your thoughts, slow your reactions. Let your heartbeat set the tempo, not the noise around you. When you move at your own pace, no one can force you into disadvantage. You decide the moment. You decide the outcome. You decide the rhythm of every encounter. Your stillness becomes threatening. Your patience becomes power. Your timing becomes lethal. Write this in the comments. I move at my own pace. Lesson 5. Train your mind to interpret fear differently. Fear is not your enemy. That is the first lie you must unlearn. Most men treat fear as a signal to run, hide, freeze, or surrender. They see it as weakness, as danger, as proof they are not strong enough. But the monster understands something the average man never discovers. Fear is information. It is a message, a map, a warning system, a sharp flash of awareness designed to guide you, not paralyze you. Machiavelli said that ordinary men shrink before danger, but a man of insight steps toward it. That single truth separates the ones crushed by pressure from the ones who become unbreakable under it. Fear reveals things. It shows you where the threat is. It shows you where your weaknesses hide. It shows you where you need to act, hold still, or strike. A mind trained under pressure doesn't panic, it reads. It studies the sensation. It analyzes the pattern. It transforms fear from chaos into clarity. Most men don't do this. When fear hits them, their thoughts scatter. Their breath shortens. Their vision narrows. Their body tenses as if fear is a predator waiting to devour them. They fight fear. They resist fear. They deny fear. And in doing so, they lose every ounce of control. But the monster does something different. He doesn't fight fear. He absorbs it. He feels it fully. He identifies it. Then he turns it into a tool. Fear sharpens his senses instead of blinding them. It expands his awareness instead of shrinking it. It becomes a spotlight revealing details the average man completely misses. Every jolt of adrenaline is data. Every tightening in the stomach is intel. Every warning pulse in the chest is guidance. Fear is not paralyzing unless you misunderstand it. Training begins with simple observation. The next time fear rises, do not label it as weakness. Study it. Ask yourself, where is it coming from? What is it trying to reveal? Which part of this moment needs attention? What advantage can I take from this signal? Once you understand your fear, it becomes predictable. Once it is predictable, it becomes manageable. Once it is manageable, it becomes useful. Once it becomes useful, it becomes power. This is the part most men will never reach. A man who hasn't trained his mind becomes blind under pressure. A monster becomes hyper-aware. He sees every opening, every shift in energy, every mistake others make when fear hijacks them. Because while others collapse under fear, he rises because of it. Fear is not meant to be eliminated. It is meant to be mastered. The goal is not to become fearless. That is impossible and foolish. The goal is to become the kind of man whose fear works for him, not against him. Fear becomes the guide. Fear becomes the alert system. Fear becomes the sharpened edge. A man who acts because fear controls him is weak. A man who acts despite fear is strong. A man who makes fear his servant is unstoppable. Write this in the comments. I convert fear into power. Lesson 6. Showcase non-reaction as power. Everything around you is trying to provoke a reaction. People push your buttons. Circumstances test your patience. Even your own thoughts try to drag you into emotional responses. And most men fail this test instantly. They flinch when challenged. They raise their voice when threatened. They argue when disrespected. They break composure the moment pressure rises. Their emotions leak out of them, revealing their intentions, fears, and insecurities. Their reactions betray them. The monster operates differently. He understands that non-reaction is one of the most powerful weapons a man can possess, more effective than aggression, louder than shouting, sharper than any threat. Machiavelli wrote that people judge more by what they see than what is actually done. And nothing communicates control more clearly than unshakable composure. Your silence becomes a blade. Your stillness becomes pressure. Your calm becomes intimidation. People fear what they cannot provoke. When a man stays unmoved in the middle of chaos, others begin to question themselves. They lose confidence, they hesitate, they overthink. Non-reaction is not weakness. It is psychological dominance. But there is a difference between being still because you're scared and being still because you're calculating. The harmless man freezes because he has no options. The monster remains still because he's choosing the best one. Most men flinch at every insult. The monster doesn't blink. Most men react to every jab. The monster doesn't move. Most men panic at rising tension. The monster becomes quieter. This lack of reaction forces the world to reveal itself. People talk more when you speak less. People expose weaknesses when you don't respond. People become sloppy when you remain composed. Your silence becomes a trap they fall into on their own. When someone tries to provoke you, through words, gestures, tone, or intimidation, resist the urge to react. Every second you stay calm, you gain more control of the situation. Your unbroken posture sends a message. You don't determine my behavior. I do. Flinching invites attack. Anger invites escalation. Composure invites fear and respect. Non-reaction allows you to choose the exact moment to engage, and when you do, it carries more weight than anything said in impulse. Picture high-pressure situations, arguments, negotiations, confrontations. The average person collapses into emotional chaos. But the monster simply watches. He observes how others unravel, how they overextend, how they expose their weaknesses. He lets them drain themselves, while he conserves energy, clarity, and advantage. This is why silence is frightening. It denies the other person control. It leaves them unsure. It forces them to reveal more than they intend. Your stillness becomes an unspoken threat. Your silence becomes leverage. Your refusal to react becomes the strongest form of intimidation. When you master non-reaction, you reshape your reputation. People hesitate before pushing you. People think twice before provoking you. People sense the consequences of awakening the part of you that rarely speaks but always observes. A monster doesn't need to move quickly. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to react. He dominates long before he acts. Write this in the comments. I command without moving. Lesson 7. Turn pressure against others. Pressure destroys most men, but the monster knows it can be turned into a weapon. While others panic, freeze, or crumble, the man who stays calm becomes the observer, the strategist, and the one who shapes the outcome. Machiavelli noted that people reveal who they truly are in difficult times, and this truth is a gift if you know how to use it. Because pressure is not only something you survive. It is something you can weaponize. Every stressful situation exposes cracks in other people. their impatience, their insecurity, their uncertainty, their fear. The more pressure rises, the more they reveal what they normally hide. When you remain steady, you become the only stable presence in the room. And stability is control. Most men, under tension, become slaves to instinct. Their voice rises. Their gestures get wild. Their decisions become sloppy. Their desperation makes them predictable. You must refuse to be pulled into their chaos. Instead, you let their reactions play out. You conserve your mental and emotional energy. You watch every twitch, every hesitation, every shift in tone. Their panic becomes your information. Their mistakes become your advantage. Their tension becomes the tool you use to achieve dominance. Pressure acts like a magnifying glass. It reveals what people are afraid of. It reveals where they are weak. It reveals what they are hiding. It reveals how far they can be pushed. And the monster doesn't act too early. He waits until the exact moment when their energy peaks, when their confidence breaks, when their fear exposes them fully. Then, he makes his move. A single calm step. A single precise word. A single calculated action. And the entire dynamic shifts in his favor. To use pressure effectively, you must understand timing. Move too fast and you waste the advantage. Move too slow and the opportunity slips away. Move at the right second. And you control the entire situation. Pressure is also contagious. If you stay calm while others shake, they begin to feel the weight of your presence. Your silence unsettles them. Your composure makes them doubt themselves. Your steadiness forces them to question their own instincts. Their fear intensifies because your lack of fear exposes them. In high-stakes moments, people don't crumble because the situation is impossible. They crumble because they believe someone else holds the upper hand. That someone is you. When you let others carry the burden of pressure while you stand unshaken, you dominate without saying a word. Their tension becomes your leverage. Their fear becomes the path to your advantage. Remember this. The monster does not create chaos, he manipulates it. He does not start the storm, he uses it. He does not fear pressure, he turns it into a weapon. While ordinary men break under pressure, you tighten your grip on control. While they collapse, you rise. While they hesitate, you strike. This is how pressure becomes your ally. This is how chaos becomes your terrain. This is how dominance is built in real time. Write this in the comments. I use pressure as power. Lesson 8. Turn fear into a servant, not a master. Fear is not something you banish, it's something you command. Most men treat fear like a venom that must be avoided. They run from it, deny it, or allow it to dictate their choices. But fear isn't poison. It's potential, raw, powerful, and waiting for someone ruthless enough to shape it. Machiavelli understood this truth clearly. A man who feels nothing can be destroyed easily, but a man who knows how to direct his fear cannot be broken. The monster under pressure does not pretend to be fearless. That's an illusion reserved for fools. Instead, he accepts fear as part of the battlefield, a force he can capture, redirect, and wield. When fear rises, the average man loses his balance. His thoughts scatter, his actions become frantic, and his discipline dissolves. But the monster reacts differently. As fear appears, he observes it. He studies the shape of it, the source of it, the message in it. And then he uses it to sharpen every sense he has. Fear heightens awareness. Fear increases focus. Fear exposes the stakes clearly. But only if you refuse to bow to it. Your task is simple: separate the feeling of fear from the command to panic. Fear alerts you. Panic blinds you. Every tight breath, every spike of adrenaline, every tremor in your gut, these are signals. They're data. They're coordinates pointing toward what matters most. The untrained man interprets these signals as chains. The trained man interprets them as guidance. This is what transformation looks like. You stop resisting fear and start bending it to your will. When you feel fear creeping up your spine, do not run. Do not suppress it. Do not surrender to it. Acknowledge it. Name it. Study it. And then, instead of acting because you're afraid, you act with precision while fear fuels your clarity. That is the difference between a trembling man and a man who walks forward even as the storm roars. The monster doesn't silence fear. He dominates it so completely that it becomes another tool in his arsenal. A man controlled by fear is fragile. A man acting despite fear is strong. But a man who harnesses fear for strategy, awareness, and timing, that man is untouchable. Fear becomes his torch, illuminating danger and showing him exactly where the opportunity lies. Never try to kill fear. Never try to ignore it. Never let it dictate your actions. Make fear serve you. And once it does, nothing in the world can command you again. Drop this affirmation: fear serves me. Now you see the truth. Pressure does not create weakness, it reveals it. And the man who chooses discipline, control, and calculation becomes something the world cannot bend. A monster under pressure isn't a creature of rage or chaos. He's a product of deliberate refinement. You've learned the real path. Become dangerous, not harmless. Command your physiology. Kill emotional impulses. Move at your own tempo. Train your mind to interpret fear differently. Showcase non-reaction as power. Turn pressure against others. And finally, turn fear into a servant, not a master. Each one of these lessons is a weapon. Each one is a layer of armor. Each one is a step toward becoming a man the world cannot shake. This is not theory. This is not philosophy. This is practice, daily, disciplined practice. Pressure is no longer a threat. It is the proving ground for your evolution. Most men break when fear whispers. You will not. Most men react when tension rises. You will not. Most men surrender before the real fight even begins. You will not. You now understand something essential. Strength is silent. Strategy is lethal. Patience is power. You will walk into storms that crush other men and remain standing, calm, calculating, and sharper than before. Your transformation begins with every moment you refuse to flinch. Every moment you impose your will over your instincts. Every moment you choose clarity over chaos. Pressure reveals who you are. And you have decided to be unbreakable. Drop this final affirmation: I am the immovable force.